Hi, it's Hannah here from Herbology, and I often get asked how I ended up doing the kind of work that I'm doing. I've actually been working in alternative medicine since I was about 16. It's quite a long story, and it spans about 30 years. There's still things going on nowadays which stem all the way back to that time. But basically, when I was at school, I was determined that I was going to be a vet. So I worked really, really hard at school because I knew it was very competitive and I needed to get good grades in order to get into vet school. And then I had a different hobby every night of the week and on the weekends. And one day, in the space of about 5 minutes, when I was 14, I suddenly burnt out. I went from being perfectly happy and healthy to barely being able to move in the space of 5 minutes. And that was the start of 2 years of chronic fatigue syndrome. So quite early on, I was taken to see the GP, and the GP could see that I could barely walk really into his consulting room. But nonetheless, he spoke over me to my dad, who'd taken me there, and basically said, yeah, she's clearly got a problem with school. You need to get her to an educational psychologist. And he looked at me and said, you need to pull yourself together. So, sorry, horsefly. Not only was the NHS not really able to help me, but they didn't even believe I was sick in the first place. So if you've been in that situation, you know how that feels. Not great, particularly when you're quite young and you're just about to kind of start your GCSE course and all of that. So I was left for a few weeks to see if I get better on my own. I didn't. And thankfully, I was taken to see a homeopathic doctor who was so different to the GP. And he listened to me for about an hour. He examined me. He gave me medicine and vitamins and told me that I would be fine. And I walked out of there thinking, my gosh, I might actually recover from this. There might actually be some hope. And I would like to help other people feel the way I do now. But I still wasn't entirely clear on what I was going to do. Later on, I was taken to see a hypnotherapist because although I was feeling a lot better and well enough to go to school, I completely lost my confidence with school and any hope of ever being a vet, and just felt kind of lost. And like there was really no point in going to school. So I was taken to see a hypnotherapist, came out of there a completely different person, and my parents were so impressed that they both quit their jobs and retrained as hypnotherapists. And my dad came out of the police and my mum came out of teaching, and one at a time they trained as hypnotherapists at a college up in London. So sometimes I would go to that college to pick up whichever parent was on the course, and I would go a bit early and be the guinea pig for the other students to experiment on. And I met a few key people through doing that. One was a gentleman called Eamon, who was on my dad's course. I will come back to him later. There was a lady called Jeanette, who was a medium, and I'll tell you her full story another time. But basically, she gave me a message to say that I needed to work with herbs. And there was another lady called Christine, and Christine introduced us to Reiki. So my dad and I did a Reiki course, which is what saw off the last of the chronic fatigue when I was about 16. And then once they'd set up the hypnotherapy practice, we used to offer Reiki as well to the hypnotherapy patients, and I would be the extra pair of hands after school. So I've actually been working in alternative medicine doing that since I was 16, but the Reiki training was with an amazing Australian Reiki master who took 7 years to train, called Barbara McGregor, and she was very big on the metaphysics and the mind-body connection when it comes to illness, which I will talk about more in future videos. But that really introduced me to the fact that we don't get sick by coincidence and we don't get sick by chance. There's always messages there that we need to be listening to. And I've seen that countless times in my practice over the years. So then I went on to train in Western Herbal Medicine at Middlesex University and graduated in 1999 after 4 years of really long, hard study. It's not for the faint-hearted. And I have been in herbal practice ever since, and obviously the way I work has evolved a lot over the years, but I still wanted to train in the hypnotherapy, and I did that finally in 2022. And the lady who trained me had been trained by Eamon, who had been on my dad's course in the early 90s, and he was my final examiner for my exam. So it came full circle in the space of 30 years, which I think is really lovely. So I've been in practice 26 years this year. I still love my job every bit as much as I did, if not more, when I first started. I think it's really fascinating, really rewarding, and there's just so much depth to it. So what's next? medical astrology and esoteric astrology, and that pulls together everything that I've learned and believed in over the last 30 years since I started this journey, and I can't wait to share more of that with you as time goes by. So yes, that's me. I would love to hear about you as well. Please do comment and tell me a little bit about yourself, and I will see you again soon. Bye.